What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to Potty Plan Entertainment. You know, your all-time favorite YouTube channel. Probably not, but if it is, hey, you have poor taste. My name is Chris, and in case you don't know, I review movies, and I rank them on a scale of 0 to 100 in increments of 5. Today, we are wrapping up Phase 1 of Marvel with the Avengers. We have reviewed every movie in Phase 1, except for this one. So now we got this one. And we are going through the entire MCU and reviewing all the Marvel movies I have not already reviewed. The next one after this will be Iron Man 3. So, let's get into the Avengers. It came out in 2012, and it stars a lot of people. Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, Scarlett Johansson, Jeremy Renner, Samuel L. Jackson, Tom Hiddleston, Clark Gregg, Kobe Smulders, Stellan Skarsgård, and Gwyneth Paltrow, and it was directed by Joss Whedon. And this movie tells the story of how all the Avengers come together to save New York City from Loki and his evil army. That is the plot of this movie. It is an extremely simple plot, and that's all it needed to be. That's all it needed to be. Yeah. Great movie. I remember when this movie came out, I hadn't seen any other Marvel movies before this, so I purposely skipped this movie. Because I hadn't seen the other ones first, and I was like, no, I'm going to watch those first. So the first Marvel movie I saw in theaters, I think I mentioned this already, was Iron Man 3. I love this movie. It's great. Everyone loves this movie. I mean, seriously, you love this movie? I love this movie. Who doesn't love the Avengers? It's a great movie. Let's talk about why. At the time, it was amazing that this movie even existed and that it was as good as it was. I mean, this movie truly was like a big deal for pop culture. This was a huge deal for pop culture, and it helped shape pop culture. And pop culture kind of changed after this because the superhero genre got really big after this because everyone looked at the success of this movie and it was like, superheroes, man, that's on the up and up. That's the moneymaker. And superheroes have been huge ever since this movie came out. This movie was huge. And it still holds up. It's still just as fun to watch now as it was back then. If anything, it's more fun to watch now because you know where it goes. And it goes somewhere great. You know, it's not like some movies where it's like you watch them and you're like, oh, well, I know where this goes after this, so I don't like this as much. Like The Force Awakens. You know, The Force Awakens is a really good movie, but everybody talks about it like it's trash, even though it's not, because they didn't like the follow-ups. They know where it goes, so they don't like that movie anymore, even though it's a good movie. But this movie, we all know where it goes, and it leads to great things. It also doesn't force the characters to come together. Them all coming together for this reason, it makes sense, and it feels right. The music is really good. The special effects, as always, are, you know, with these Marvel movies, they're fantastic. The casting was perfect. They had to recast the Hulk. Mark Ruffalo does a great job. The action is really good, just like in all Marvel movies, except for maybe Captain Marvel. I really don't like Captain Marvel. I'm not looking forward to rewatching that one and reviewing it, but I'm going to have to. But the action is great, especially when the Hulk shows up and the Hulk is doing his thing. The Hulk in this movie is awesome. It is such a shame that they ruined that character later on, but in this movie, he is great. Also, Loki is a great villain. He's a really, really good villain, and I loved him in this movie. I also love the conversations that the characters have, and the dialogue is really well written. Even when the characters... There's a lot of action in this movie, but even when there isn't, listening to the characters talk, it's just as entertaining. I mean, there's really, really good dialogue in this movie. It also feels like it has real-world consequences. Now, Captain America Civil War definitely gets into that more, like a lot more, and I'll be talking about that when I review that movie. But this movie does have real-world consequences, which is nice. It's not just like the memes where it's like Avengers, like, we saved the city, and it's like the city, and you just see it destroyed. Like, no, like, it does, like, actually, like, acknowledge this. The tension and suspense is really, really good. Also, Coulson's death adds an emotional punch. I've never watched any of the Marvel TV shows just because I don't want to. If that's for you, great. I just don't want to. I like the movies. But I'm pretty sure they revive his character later on in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is stupid, but whatever. But him dying in this movie does add an emotional punch, especially because he was just a supporting actor, but the way that they managed to get us into this character right before they killed him, it packed a punch. And then Tony Stark, of course, was pissed. So pissed that he killed him. And then he went after Loki. He's like, and there's one more person you pissed off. His name was Phil. That's an awesome moment. Let's see. The characters are all equally important, and they all have their own moment. You know, each character feels like they have a purpose for being there. They all add something to the story, and they all get a cool moment, which is not very easy to do, but they pulled it off here wonderfully. I also like it we get to see the Avengers fight each other. It wasn't just, all right, let's come together and let's defeat this evil doer, whatever. No, they actually took them a while to get along with each other, and they had to kind of get to that point, and I like that very much. Plus, it's just cool to see Iron Man and Thor duke it out. The pacing is really good. This is a very well-paced movie. This is a quick movie. It gets faster after they introduce all the characters, but even then, it never feels slow. This is an extremely well-paced film. The build-up to the movie was definitely worth it when you go through all these movies. Yeah, that was Marvel's original plan. Let's have a solo movie for all these characters, set them all up, and then we'll do the Avengers. And it was worth the wait, and they set them all up beautifully. The actors all have really good chemistry together. Everybody in this group works really, really well together, and they all feel natural with each other. It just works. All the humor is really good, and it's a big scale movie, and it's a ton of fun. This is a very fun movie. If you watch this movie and get bored, I don't even know how that's possible. This is one of the most entertaining movies ever. This movie is so much fun. It's big scale, action, blockbuster fun, and it's done so well. Now, it's not perfect. I do have a few complaints. We'll get into that now. So, for one thing, Captain America's suit. It's terrible. I hate it. I still say his suit in the first Captain America movie is his best one. Now, they did fix his suit, thank God, and in all the movies throughout after this, his suit was much better. But I still say his original suit was the best one. This one was by far his worst. It just looks stupid. It's a jumpsuit with a hoodie. It's stupid. Also, how did the guy at the warehouse know that the Hulk was going to turn human again? He's like, yeah, you just fell in, and I brought these pants for when you turn back into a regular feller. And I'm like, but how did you know that? Am I missing something? Like, was that something like in the Hulk, the original Hulk, that like maybe that's why he knew? But that just seemed weird to me that he knew he was going to turn back human. But maybe I'm missing something, but I don't know if I am. And then the last thing is, why can the Hulk suddenly control himself? So like when Mark Ruffalo first becomes the Hulk, he starts attacking Black Widow and Thor. He's fighting Thor because he can't control himself. And then all of a sudden when we see him again, he can. And I'm like, okay, that's a weird transition. Like, why can he suddenly control himself now, but he couldn't before? But anyway, great movie. I love it. I'm going to give the Avengers a 95. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to Polyplanet Entertainment for more. Hit the like button. Leave a review suggesting that in the comments down below. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Polyplanet Entertainment for channel updates and bonus content. And much love.